Hello, military vehicle fans or Jeep lovers. We have a Kyosho. The Kyosho had a line of military vehicles for the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Forces, JGSDF, I believe it is. And this is actually a Ford vehicle. It's the replacement for the original World War II Willys Jeep. And so this is called the M151. It's a quarter-ton 4x4 utility truck, and it's nicknamed the MUTT. Alright, so we got some photos here. I guess this was never really popular. It was never sold to civilians because it was deemed too dangerous. It had a live swing axle rear suspension, which I don't really understand what that is, but this is what Wikipedia is telling me. And so a lot of people were rolling these over in the military, and so Ford blamed, dumb drivers, but, well, you know, there are dumb drivers everywhere. You have to account for that in your engineering. Anyways, the federal government thought it was too dangerous to sell to civilians, probably so. So they did everyone a favor there. This thing would have been powered by a, a 2.3 liter inline 4, making around 70 horsepower. Had a 4-speed transmission. Okay, now looking at this thing looks huge. I mean, a World War II Jeep is really small, and even though this is supposed to be a little bit bigger, this looks massive. So I'm going to check the scale. The internet is telling me 2159 or 2160 millimeters is the wheelbase. So let's measure this wheelbase. .86. You know what though? Actually, I'll just measure these axles right here in the molding. Yeah, same thing. 30 divided by 37.85. This is way off. This is 157 scale. So every now and then, Kyosho, like one of their F40 LME, I think, that thing is out of scale. XLT Off-Road Bear, I think, found one was out of scale. I forget which one. So not all Kyoshos are to scale. Let's keep that in mind, which is a darn shame because they're pretty nice looking models, but a large part for me is trying to compare them to other vehicles, right? So scale matters to me unless I'm, doing a cartoon car. Alright, well, anyways, let's take a look here at this oversized Hot Wheels kind of vehicle now. It's really nicely done, though. I mean, these wheels look fantastic. There's actually air passing between those tiny little holes you might be able to see every now and then. Well, maybe not, but I can see light passing between those little holes. The tires are molded very well as well. Yeah, they're rubbery too. For a minute I thought they might have been plastic. But you can see, the side, tread blocks, how they would grip mud and stuff like that. So very well done. This thing's got a camo paint job that looks pretty nice as well. All tampo printed, and it's a matte finish. There's no glossiness, which makes sense for a military vehicle. We have the bumper here with some toe rings on the side and the front. We have the nice headlights with little Fresnel lensing there, so it looks quite realistic. The grille seems to have a tiny texture in these grooves. Maybe you can't hear it, but I don't know if you can see it, but I can see tiny cross marks inside each of these black bars. So it's quite deep and dimensional, textured in there. Some nice ribbing up here, some hinges. The hinges even look like they have 6 little tiny rivet bumps, so that's pretty cool. Don't know what this would be. Turn signals are just painted orange. I don't know what that is either, maybe a horn. The wiper blades are just casted in. I think this whole thing is painted clear plastic, but it's looking pretty good. It doesn't look like there's much light getting through the backside, so it looks pretty much the same color on the outside as the die-cast color. Alright, this side of the vehicle we have, maybe this is the fuel filler if I had to guess. Very poorly molded in axe. It's barely sticking out of the bodywork, so that's about casting design, the mold design, but I feel like they could have done a better job there. The roof here is part of it, I think. I don't know if it can come off. I don't get the impression that it does. So maybe you could tear it off, but I'm not going to bother. Alright, so the steering wheel as well is nicely done. Look at the thin stock, the thin arms on the steering wheel itself. And then the shifters and all that, they're relatively thin as well. High, low, overdrive, e-brake, I don't know, there's 3 columns there. There seems to be a little texture here in the floor pan. The seats are generally smooth, or maybe they're lightly textured. There's some ribbing here. There is a back seat as well. We have a jerry can here, it's nicely detailed, and then the teardrop military taillights are nicely done. Technically this should be painted right here, but it's better than nothing. Some rivets back here, and this is a different brace than that side. Maybe one, this is supposed to hold an antenna according to those photos. Same rubbery tire as a spare wheel, and the spare wheel is a different molding. It's different than this because this one actually has lug nuts. So that's nice that they actually did a different casting. So that's cool. This thing's got clear plastic back window. I think that's a separate piece. Yeah, this window is a separate piece. So this canvas roof is molded in probably this olive color or some sort of opaque color. And then this and the windshield are molded in clear plastic. I don't know what this little step thing is here. Oh, I think it's an antenna stud. There's a little red for this reflector, and then a very shallow molded shovel. Okay. Alright, well, it's pretty cool. I really like it. The problem is, it's just not the scale. It's not remotely. It's a Hot Wheels scale. I'm now noticing there's a box here. I don't know what this box would be for, but it seems to be a separate piece. But anyways, nice little detail. Makes it an asymmetric design. Okay, well, this one does kind of roll, so I guess if that matters to you, seeing if you like Hot Wheels, it probably does. Let's compare it to a couple other models then. I don't have, this is my first military truck, I think. But anyways, I do have another one, which I'll review later. Okay, so I'm gonna assume these other ones are to scale. This next one is a green light 1968 Nissan Patrol. See how much narrower it is, and this is probably to scale. This thing should be a lot smaller. Another tell is look how big the tires are. So, I mean, if this is to scale, this would be running like semi-truck tires. The diameter of them just seems really tall. But this green line has very thin tires, so I think like these are kind of poorly designed, the tires as well. Here's a Mini GT. Sorry, it's a Christmas livery of the Land Rover pickup here. And look at the tire size again. So this one is definitely out of scale. Alright. Now I do have a Jeep CJ something, CJ5 from Greenlight, which would be more in line. So a CJ5, I'm pretty sure came out after this. I'm not sure if I even said that this thing was produced between 1959 and 1988, and over 100,000 were made for various militaries. Later on, this was replaced by the Humvee, which is obviously a giant vehicle. But anyways, back to this. I mean, I would think that this thing would be smaller than the CJ5 in the real world. Unfortunately, Greenlight takes liberties with some of their tire designs. These tires are not realistic. Alright. So here's a Kyosho of a Lamborghini Lm002, which I do believe would probably be a fairly big truck in the real world, seeing how it's powered by a V12 from a Lambo. Okay, well, here's a plan view of those Jeeps there. Well, we'll still let it spin on its own. It's a nice model, just a bit of quite a letdown, really. I'm just so used to Kyoshos being 164, or I believe they're 164. But this is clearly just too big. I don't know why they did this, because Kyosho is clearly capable of making small models. They have the BMW Isetta, which is minuscule, and a whole bunch of other minuscule vehicles in 164. So, really strange mystery on this one. Okay. Alright, well, that's the only shortcoming, really, the scale. Other than that, it's a really nice model. So, hopefully the other one I got here is to scale, and I'll review that one later. Thanks, bye.